This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Of Mom and Pop Eateries, Grey Bruce. I'm your host, Rob Leonard. What a journey it's been. I guess we've been doing this for we're into our 4th month now. And what a journey it's been going across Grey and Bruce counties and meeting some of the amazing restaurant owners, the mom and pops that work their behinds off every single day out there. And we know them, we love them. And a gentleman that is no stranger to the area's culinary arts and someone I've known for quite a number of years. The owner of Sizzlin in Owen Sound, chef and owner David Verburg. David, thanks very much for doing this today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, David, as I said, we've known each other for quite a few years, and a lot of people are very familiar with you and with your food. And you and I first met, I think, at Stone Tree. Let's start there. And work forward as to what you've done in cooking over those years.
Yeah, Stone Tree was my big start in Owen Sound. It actually started with Georgian Village before it turned into Stone Tree. And I got approached by Ballard Management, which owned the property at the point in time, said they were going to make a new vision, a new design, wanted my help. I said, sure. Something I definitely wanted to do as a chef. You want to have your own place. So worked with them quite vividly with all facets of the design, with the bar, the kitchen, the restaurant, the catering, everything else. And it was a great ride for 4 years there.
All right, and after that, after you were Stone Tree, I know where you went after that. Tell the folks you had a great experience from what I could see. I've never seen so much food in my life, I don't think, where your next job was. So if you'd like to discuss some of that.
Yeah, after that, I got approached for a position with the Canadian military at the time it was called the Area Training Center in Meaford. It's not a base training center, but I had an opportunity to go there to work with some very great people and some very good clients, which is our Canadian military. Tons of respect for them. Still and always will have. I have a lot of friendships that I still have. We were at a point in time producing up to 9,000 meals a day just for the military. And I think in my tenure there, I was there for about 13 years. I did about 2.5 million meals that I had my hands on involved. So it was a lot of food coming in. And really, it was all spectrums of food where you're doing 8 boxes, which is food out in the field, and buffet dining room service in the dining room, and box lunches for guys that are picking off from buses. And it was just a great experience for me. I really enjoyed it.
And as I said, it's an incredible operation up there. I mean, the facility is just huge itself. And many times when I'd go in there and I'd think, how do you orchestrate all of that? Is it, some chefs will say that it's, when you're doing a large quantity of food, that sometimes it's just as easy doing 100 as it is 1,000. Would you agree with that analogy?
I would definitely agree with that. And the biggest part of that is your team. You got to have a great team that supports you, that trusts you. And from there, you can do anything. Like we had our staff numbers went anywhere from 30 to 200 people during the summertime. And as long as you had 3 people in the places, and they knew their job and they respected you were going to help them when they needed the help, I thought there's nothing that we couldn't do. And as you said, when you're feeding 100 or 1,000, it's just numbers. You order X number for 100, well, you order X more for 1,000. It doesn't mean you need that many more people. It's just that you're producing that much more food. It's just, doing more of one particular job. Like the biggest thing I remember is breakfasts in the morning when we did bacon. When at a restaurant, you do maybe a couple of trays of bacon. Well, with the military, you do 200 trays of bacon every single morning. So again, you said it's just producing more food is all it is.
and you have to be super organized in order to orchestrate that. And that really, that's what it is. And you had a huge staff there as well. And my hat is off to you seeing that operation as many times as I did. So now you moved on and you decided to open your own. Every chef's dream is to own their own place. And you started, Sizzlin didn't start in Owen Sound.
No, we actually started off in my hometown where I'm right now, which is Meaford. There was an opportunity that presented itself for the place that was closing down, and talked to the landlord, and we came to the decision, and we opened up Sizzlin in Meaford, which was a small little, I think we had about 48 seats at the time. It was only indoor service. We did catering, we did weddings, we did functions. But more of a, as you say, it's more of a mom and pop place where we're doing family modern food. And as you said, it should be every chef's dream is to have your own place. If not, that's kind of the end goal. Except for winning the lottery, of course, which I'm still trying to do.
And how long were you at the spot in Meaford before you made the move to Owen Sound?
We were at Meaford for almost 5 years. And then it came time to renew the lease, and the terms didn't make sense to me. And that's when my wife actually won the property in Owen Sound, which I knew the bones of the place already. And we made the move and we bought the building, and where we are in Owen Sound.
I remember when you announced that you bought the location in Owen Sound, and then I think I sent you a message saying it just seemed like a logical choice for you, being you were already established in Owen Sound. People knew you, they knew your food. So it was, as I said, a logical choice for you to go there. So you opened Sizzlin in Owen Sound, and what a great building, what a great spot. With the rooftop patio upstairs, and from what I've seen, I haven't been in the restaurant yet, but from the pictures I've seen, you've done a great job on transforming that dining room and making it look really, really appealing. So, yeah,
well, it was kind of a concept that we had with Meaford. We didn't want to change what we did in Owen Sound. We wanted our brand. So we went in there and we did floor to ceiling. And what I mean from that, we went to subfloor, we had to level all the floors because there was a bad lane almost 2 degrees from the bar to the front window. So we had to go and do everything, electrical, plumbing. Plumbing was a nightmare. Don't even get started there. But then we did everything kind of with the same concept that we had in Meaford, which is our brand. And that was something a little bit more upscale, but family oriented. So you could come in a business suit with a bunch of guys and have drinks with the naps, or come in with your kids, your mom and dad, enjoy a meal, which isn't going to cost you as much as you would think. And from what it was before, I knew the bones of the place because I'd worked there 20 years past when it was a Gray Heron.
Well, and I know the Owen Sound market very well, and as you do. And even though you have the great reputation that you have for your food and things, there's always that. You still have to work for it to get that customer in there. Sometimes that Owen Sound clientele can be a little fickle. Let's put it that way. But helping you get over that hump with your reputation. So was it difficult at the start, or were you pleasantly surprised at the response to Sizzlin?
No, we were very surprised at the response. It's a simple philosophy, really, is use simple ingredients, use fresh ingredients, cook them well, and season them well. We do 95% of our stuff in-house. So we do our own smoking, we do our own butchery, we do our own soups, we make our own dressings, we do it all. Some of the things you have to buy in frozen, such as the appetizers like onion rings, things like that. But, if you're producing fresh food all the time, and you're making sure that it's cooked properly all the time, consistency and quality are the biggest things, and seasoning. Make sure when it goes out there, it's how you would expect to eat it. Not too salty, not too peppery, but it's got to have flavor. And we've kind of kept that same concept even when I was at Stone Tree, and before that is I've always learned, be consistent, keep the quality there, but make it simple and make it so people enjoy the flavors. It isn't like a repetition of where something is overkilling a product like a sauce or a particular spice.
Okay, great. Now, all right, let's take a step back now. When did you buy Sizzlin? So how long have you been there?
We took possession on it in 2019, January 1st.
Okay, so let's take a step back to March when it was announced that restaurants had to close their doors to service. What was going through your mind that day?
Well, we kind of closed the day before because we had already seen through social media what was happening and what was trending already. So we thought, let's just stay ahead of the curve, and we shut down. And yeah, it was a big shock. You're at a place that you're coming off of wintertime, which in this area, unless you're in a ski resort town or some type of tourist town, winters are hard. You're fighting for every dime nickel you can get. And after coming off such a hard winter, and then you're told in March you're not going to be able to open, yeah, it hurt a lot of us. And to the fact that I've seen a lot of places that haven't reopened yet, and I feel really bad because I know they're all fighting. It doesn't matter if you're mom, pa, if you're a chain. Everyone was trying to fight for the same thing, and everyone to survive. And that's what we're still doing right now.
Okay, when I started the page up, you were one of the places I was watching. I was keeping an eye to see when you were going to open, because, like you said, I've known you for such a long time, and if the idea of the page was to try and help and get the word out and let people know what's going on with certain restaurants. So I was keeping an eye on you, but it was crickets out there for a long time, and I wasn't hearing from you. I was getting a little worried. I didn't want to bother you. But then, and one of the beautiful things in your building, and it's a beautiful building, is the rooftop patio. And, in hindsight, that patio, really, in my estimation, that's what made your decision to reopen again.
Yeah, 100%, because it was a venue that we could actually serve food from. Being downtown core, we didn't do a lot of takeout because our takeout was supported by a lot of local businesses. To be honest, if you want to take out and you wanted it quick, you went the east side or the west side. Downtown with the bridge repair right now in 10th, it's a nightmare for traffic, and it still is, and it's going to be for a while. So when we had an opportunity to open up the patio, we were, on that really fast. We had to change it, of course, because our patio was situated so we could do 85 seats up there, and now we have 32. And, again, it's a matter of, doing your proper social distancing, sanitizing everything all the time, but make the space that people feel comfortable up there. And when we had a chance to open up, we did, and the support was phenomenal. I tell you, Owen people, Meaford people who are regular clients from Meaford, they were all there on multiple times a week, and it kept us alive and floating. And I can't thank them enough. And I can't thank enough. A little kudos to you as well for helping support us and get us out there on social media. We really appreciate it.
And that rooftop patio, I've been on that patio many times, and it really is. It's a drawing card. It's a place where people are attracted to because it's warm, it's inviting. When there's live music playing on that patio as well, it really is a great atmosphere. So, and I'm sure you're hoping to get back 100% of that and sometime soon. David, let's talk about your menu. All right, let's talk about. I see it every day when you're putting your posts up on Facebook. What is your focus there, or do you take care of a lot of different palates?
Well, yeah, in this industry, you got to cater to everybody. You got to cater to senior citizens. You got to cater to kids, and then you cater to mom and dad. Because if you keep the kids happy, mom and dad are going to come back. So when we were focusing on our menus, it was basically how to get all the families to come in together. And from there, we created a menu that offered a little bit to everybody. There was roast beef and fish for mom and dad or grandma and grandpa. There's a steak and a pasta for mom and dad. And then there's kids fish and kids fingers and burgers and grilled cheeses for the kids. And then everything else around the menu, we just kind of grabbed little bits and pieces that we would do as specials and try them out. And the special worked out great. We had good feedback response on it. That became a new menu item. And that's how we kind of grow our menus. We keep the items that are good selling points, but then we bring in specials that have sold good before. And we also listen to our social media. So our webpage has a good following. We have people asking if we have certain things coming back, like a salmon, or a different type of trout, or a different type of steak. And if we see a lot of that feedback, we just simply will bring it back to the menu and try it out, because the menu we change it about 3 times a year. And again, those changes are very minor, because you don't want to fix what isn't broken, but at the same time, you got to keep on rejuvenating yourself and letting people know that you're trying to give them a different experience. And different meaning just different flavor-wise. Keeping the same type of service that we have, which is, again, my team is amazing. I've got a really good staff that, seem to be able to cater to all the type of people that we have coming in. But yeah, it's again, it's a simple menu. It's simple to eat. It's fresh. Trying to get as local as we can. I do a lot of shopping at Cash and Carry, at Metro, at Zehrs, Produce Plus, of course, which Bill, he's bringing our produce every day of the week except for on Sunday. We order small batches because, again, we're very fresh. So I got a very small freezer, and that's just for my appetizers. We do our own steak cutting. We make our own burgers. We make our own parmesans, and we're ordering food 6 days a week right now. So it seems to be working. It's people are enjoying it, and knock on wood, we're people moving forward.
And it's been fantastic to see the reports. It seems like pretty much everybody's had a good summer, but I love seeing those really positive posts coming from you on Facebook, and you're thanking your staff and everybody for such a great night. Just happened there a few nights ago, and you're doing well. But again, that's a reflection, I think, on you and your cooking, because I've mentioned this in maybe one or two other episodes, and I said I remember when I was in school, when I was at George Brown College, and one of the professors or one of the instructors there said, it's our job as chefs to educate and not to dictate, right? And you are very familiar with the palate of that area. You know that they want the roast beefs and the smashed potatoes, as you call it. The wing nights, and those are the things that are going to keep a lot of people happy. But you are also very capable of doing just about anything they ask, and I think you've done a great job by looking at your menu of again, keeping everybody happy, and which is very difficult to do in this business, right? But in my estimation, I think that would be a good part of your success, is because of your versatility.
Yeah, and again, it has to reflect on my team as well, because my team has to understand the customer that's coming in. They can almost feel if they're local, if they're from the city, and they're constantly trying to always upsell on our menu, and most of them have almost tasted it on the menu. One thing we're very big on is making sure they know what they're selling. So it's an educated, what am I saying? Suggestion when they're telling the customer, listen, you got to try this because I have had it, and it works well. I mean, we have a lot of customers in that aspect, and again, it's because of my team. My team's fantastic. I can't say any more about that.
All right, now there's another interesting little connection here between your past and where Sizzlin is located now, and I guess the original owner of that building as a restaurant, it was originally the Grey Heron, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, the Grey Heron was owned by Ken and Kuro Toga. And when I first came to this area, I started my first job with the Talisman Resort, and I was a sous chef there. And Ken was then the owner of the Grey Heron, but on the weekends he was coming to work at Talisman, just to help out as a wine cook. And we built a rapport from that, and I started working for him on my days off, which were Mondays and Tuesdays, at the Grey Heron. So that's how we kind of built that little trust. Out of Talisman, went back to Niagara for a while after a few years, and when I came back up, I had a chance to. That's when I had my chance at Stone Tree, and at that point in time, Ken had already sold the Grey Heron on to somebody else, and he was a chef at George and Joel's, which is now Stone Tree. So yeah, we kind of crossed paths quite a few times, and we still see each other every once in a while. Yeah, so that's how I kind of came to know the building. And when I was there, I was also working when it was Shays Lounge, and Too Quickly bought it. I helped out for a few months just on weekends. Again, as a chef, you're constantly working. You're working a lot of hours, so I work 5 days at my main job and then work 2 days at another job. Just to get hobby money, to get whatever money. So I worked there at Shay's Lounge. I worked there at the Jazz Avon Club for a little while as well. So I really knew the bones of the place.
Yes, I remember Ken quite well. I haven't seen him in a number of years, but a real gentleman, always had a smile on his face. And that's very hard to do in the restaurant business at any time. Sometimes, in my case, the smile is from insanity of so many years in the kitchen, but
Yeah, you're right.
you keep going back to it, right? I'm still there. So, yeah. So, David, moving forward, we have some really uncertain times for us ahead in this in the restaurant business. Coming to mind, I think one of my, I don't know, could it be a fear or what happens? The social distancing measures are going to stay in place as far as we know into 2021. We know we're going to lose the patios to the weather. Then we're left with the restrictions in the dining room. So restaurant owners are going to have to adjust to that, and there may be some very tough decisions to be made in the coming months.
Yeah, well, we've already started doing the inside dining. We started about a month ago when it was allowed to, and we're now doing under half capacity in the dining room, meaning that when you're sitting at a table, you're 6 feet away from the doorway, you're 6 feet away from the next table. So we've gone from like 80 seats inside down to 30 now. So once the patio closed and we're in the dining room only, yeah, it's going to be a big adjustment. It's not going to be huge because luckily I do have some staff that are leaving because they're going to school. So that drops my numbers down a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to be losing too much of my core team, which has been with me since day one. Again, it's a crystal ball right now. We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to assume that we're going to stay at least steady. We're still going to book functions and little groups, stuff like that, because we're allowed to. But it's just a matter of managing the numbers. It's managing your staffing, your labor costs. Again, food costs, we have a pretty good control over it now because we are ordering so many days a week and we're ordering small amounts, not large quantities. So, again, what's going to happen? Who knows? And we're not the only ones that are involved in it. It's everybody across the board. And for us, it's just going to be a matter of time will tell.
But, you know, and you take a look back when the dining rooms were forced to close, that played right into the hands of the fast food franchise businesses, you know, the ones that were already doing this to begin with. You know, I heard someone, I won't mention the franchise's name, but it was a fast food place here in Aurelia, and their business went up. They tripled their business in the first couple of months. Why? Because all the restaurants were being forced to close, all the mom and pops, the independents, you know, the dining rooms were forced to close. So what choice did you have? You had to go to those places for your takeout. But then once the restaurants started reopening again for takeout, I have a lot of, or quite a few restaurant owners, mom and pops, have told me that it actually worked in their favor because now their customers are used to getting takeout from their place, whereas takeout may not have been such a big part of their business, but people just got used to it. And the people that aren't comfortable yet going to sit in a dining room are still getting takeout or having it delivered to their house. Do you think that is something that could be a saving grace for a lot of restaurants come fall, winter?
It can be. It all depends on what your reputation is. We've seen slowly that our takeout is starting to grow right now. It's by no means the numbers of a lot of places around us. Again, I think our location kind of hurts us at that point. You know, the patio is great because in the summertime it's above the town and it's a great location. In the wintertime downtown, especially with traffic, it sucks. It really does. So, but we do have support. And as you were saying about seeing how the fast food has gone up in numbers, I got friends in the industry. Again, they're in ones in fast food, and his numbers went up almost 75%. You know, when COVID happened, because just we closed down. But you know what? That's just the game. It's it could have been as easily they shut down and we stayed open. You know, there's a lot of things that could have happened, but you can't grow. You just got to kind of push forward and move on. And they can start that right now. We're still open, and I'm still paying people and paying staff. So what happens in the future? I have no idea.
I wish we did know. It's everybody's future. Yeah. I think a lot of us, we really have our own, we may not say exactly what we're thinking as to what could, well, there's a lot of what could be if this happens, you know. I guess the ultimate saving grace would be if you could open your dining rooms full on and you could have accommodate a full dining room people, but I honestly don't see that, according to what Prime Minister Trudeau is saying and what the health officials are saying, that these social distancing rules are going to stay in place probably into 2021.
I agree. And right now there's a lot of confusion on the mandates because there's no policies really that are set yet, either by provincial or federal. So it's kind of municipalities that are creating their own legislation and their own guidelines, but it's hard because they're not being policed. And I've heard of a few places that aren't following certain guidelines that maybe we are, and a lot of places are, but just because they're not following it doesn't mean they're not doing it illegally because there's nothing set. There's no standards set yet. Again, we're doing choices by our own standards. So if we say you have to wear a mask because we say you have to wear a mask, you know, I know places, other restaurants that say not to wear a mask inside the restaurant. It's their choice because it's not being mandated. And people have been pretty understanding, you know, as far as what our policies are, you know, respect of social distancing. If you get to go use the washroom, mask has to go back on, sanitize as soon as you leave, sanitize as soon as you come in. So, you know, moving forward, I don't know. Again, I'm still trying to figure things out. We still have bookings, you know, going well into the fall. And I don't think that we're going to be open full dining until you said probably late 2021, maybe summer 2021, because I don't think that this virus has really shown up its ugly head yet fully. We've been lucky in the area that we live in that we're quite sheltered, and I think we've been respecting it quite well. But I don't think we've seen its full potential yet. So yeah, I don't see us going full scale, as you said, to well into 2021, and hopefully we're still around.
Well, you know what? Having worked in the restaurant business pretty much my entire working life, I know how hard people like yourself and other restaurant owners and their staff, for the most part, they really work their tails off. They're resilient. They're able to. You got to be able to spin on a dime in this business. If you can't, sorry, you shouldn't be in the business, right? So the decisions have to be made on the fly, and each episode I do of the show, Dave, makes me feel more positive about my chosen career and the road that things, what the new normal is going to be for the restaurant business. And Dave, we got about 30 seconds to go. I want to thank you so much. Chef owner David Verburg from Sizzlin in Owen Sound. Make sure you get down there to visit. I may be coming to town next week. I don't know if you're there on Tuesdays. I may pop in. If I do pop into town, David, thank you so much, and all the best to you and your staff at Sizzlin. Any parting? I got about 10 seconds. What do you got? Anything?
No, thank you for the support. Number one from Owen Sound and Meaford. Thank you to you, Rob, and your page for helping us get social media out. And we're still on Sizzlin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, David. It was great seeing you, and I hope to see you next week. For producer Mark Perry and producer Darlene Van Wyck in the studios in Owen Sound, I'm Rob Leonard. We'll see you next time on Mom and Pop Eateries of Grey Bruce.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Be sure to tune in to Grey County Life on Rogers TV.
It's your favorite lifestyle magazine show on Rogers TV.
I don't think that we're supposed to fraternize.
Are your college friends?
I felt this massive weight lifted.